Guys, I am surrounded by nature. So, the topic today, guys, does slavery still exist? Guys, my name is Stefan. My YouTube channel is I am underscore Stefan. And guys, I'm curious. Do you think slavery still exists? I'm looking down because, as you can see, these birds is all around me. Maybe looking for something to eat. Does slavery still exist? Yes, 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 yes. Currently, slavery is still recognized in the same way it has been recognized throughout history. And you're probably wondering, did Stefan bump his head again? No, I didn't. But what is a slave? In 2024, is this still relevant? Slavery goes back as far as 3500 BC. Imagine that. The definition of a slave is someone who was forced to work without being paid, oftentimes under duress or a threat of violence, and is trapped and unable to walk away. That is a slave. Does that sound familiar? It should. Does a 9 to 5 job sound familiar? Were we brainwashed? What we was taught in school, does that ring a bell? Were we influenced by theology? Slavery still exists in today's society. We often use another term instead of slavery, and that's human trafficking. That's convict Gleason. It's real. Slavery is still alive today. Slavery is still alive. More people are in slavery around the world more than ever, even more than was previously recorded in the history books. But identifying slavery today is not that simple as you would think. And that's due to the new tactics that includes the new tactics that these people who break the law, they adapt. They adapt to the environment. I want to make a quick statement. There's a difference between a servant and a slave. A servant is not a slave. A servant is hired to perform tasks, whereas a slave is owned. You can quit your job at will if you're a servant. You can move on to another job. You can negotiate a higher salary. A slave? A slave have no say. I know most people seeing this over and over. You working on a job and someone position was eliminated and that position was never refilled. Now, somebody has to pick up that slack. Most times, it's you. You work in two positions within the same establishment. Imagine that. But identifying slavery today isn't as simple as it was when it was legally and openly. The hidden nature of slavery makes it hard for people to assume it's not happening in the United States or around the world. It's actually happening in every state in America. To bring it even closer to you, it's happening currently in your city, probably a few doors down. If you don't know, You better ask somebody. Traffickers constantly adapt the tactics to evade detection and mostly operate in broad daylight. You know that saying? It's hidden in plain sight. That's it. Victims are often deceived through desperation and false promises. These folks are eager to support themselves and their families, like coming from different countries. So you understand, some are even held captive due to unpaid, unfairly debts that a family member may have created. And you just fall in that position where you do what you have to do to prevent that family member from being hurt or being killed. Kids who grow up in an abusive home becomes targets and they are exploited. Kids who are vulnerable, I can't say that word too well, so I can say an easier word: risk. Kids who are at risk and run away from home just to seek an easier life, most of them always get charges due to petty crimes. Some of them are being placed in the welfare system or even becoming homeless. Then you have the migrants. You know, I am a migrant, but sometimes migrants are targeted because they are unfamiliar of their surroundings. Many migrants can't speak English properly, so they accept any kind of job in order to feed them or their family. Many of them is uneducated, and some of them don't even know that there is U.S. employment protection that can protect them. If you don't know, you don't know, or you don't know what you don't know. Then you have the five letters LGBTQ. I don't know what it is, and if I didn't say it correctly, don't castrate me. Folks who are in this community often experience abandonment, family rejection, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, even discrimination. But they're still human. And we still should treat them kindly. Still should treat them with kindness. It doesn't matter who they chose to love. So, so you think slavery still exists? You be the judge. Let me talk about the melanated people. Lord, where do I start? As Martin Luther King once said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hmm. When are we going to start developing our own backyard? When I say that, let me explain to you what I mean by that. When are we as black people going to start promoting and supporting our own black companies? Let me show you something. A black man created a company called Fubu and Fat Farm. Where are those companies today? Gone. How much was a pair of those jeans worth from Fubu, a Fat Farm? Then you got Louis Vuitton, Balenciaga, Versace, Amiri. These companies are soaring. Well, maybe not Balenciaga, not right now because of the flack they're getting. But we would rather pay the European companies $1,000 for a pair of jeans rather than supporting our black owned companies who sold the same jeans for $49. Then they have to figure out how they're going to pay their rent at the end of the month. You heard what I said, right? Rent, not mortgage. I heard this with my own two ears. I will never buy a house because I don't want a burden of maintenance. The burden of maintenance. I was dumbfounded. I was baffled when I heard a friend of mine made that statement. So when your AC is broken on the weekend and you can't reach the landlord, what do you do? I'll tell you. You're gonna sit your black ass there in the heat or the cold. That's what you're gonna do until that landlord call you back. You know, you know what he or she was doing. Why they didn't call you back? They was enjoying the pool. They was enjoying their air conditioning, and you was there sitting in the corner feeling sorry for yourself, and your two lips in a paper clip. Guys, invest into yourself. Invest into your future generation. Make that step. Let me break it down to you. You are not gonna live forever. You're not. Don't cheat yourself. Instead, treat yourself. Let me get to the prison system. You don't go there because you have smooth brown skin. Nah. You don't go there because you have a six pack. Actually, most people when they leave, they do have a six pack. But that's from wrong decisions. The prison system was further designed to enslave us. Some of us like to wear gold chains around our neck. Some of us rather wear iron chains around our ankles. 37% of prisoners in America is black. Let me break it down. Let me break it down into a perspective for you. So if there's 100 prisoners, imagine 37 of them is black. What are we doing? Let that sink in. I kid you not. Convict leasing is a real thing, guys. It's a real thing. You know, there's a company called Federal Prison Industries Inc. They also go by Unicor. They was created back in 1977. Guys, they are still in operational today. And I will go as far as to tell you a little more. Inmates are paid 23 cents to $1.15 for labor per hour. 23 cents. And we still out here doing crime? Guys, we accept that. We accept that. No, we shouldn't. There's no state in America that has a minimum wage that low. So why would they work for that? Why would you commit to that? So is that still slavery? Yes, it is. We as black people don't unite, and we do not support each other. And man, we got to change that. We got to change that for our future. Guys, that would be selfish of you to say, you know what, you're not going to do it for your kids. There's still slavery in this country. You still have the agricultural farm workers. What is that? You have domestic workers. That is in the beauty industry. You have the massage parlors, the happy endings. Guys, that's still slavery. That's still slavery. But we got to get better. We got to do better. Ay, ay, ay. Slavery still exists. We have to change the mindset. We have to unite. We can change and train our future generations. We have to come together. If one of us hurt, all of us hurt. Say for instance, in Florida, there is tons of Spanish grocery stores. And when you go there, every one of them is packed with all Latinas. They're supporting their own. Why we can't do that? If you go to an Indian restaurant, it's full of Indians. There's nothing but Indians in there. They're supporting each other. But guys, let's come together. Let's come together and build these new walls, building blocks for our kids, our future generations. Make that step. Each one teach one. Is slavery still exists? You decide that. See you in the next video.